4 playoff first-round games to get things going starting on Friday night this week. We've got Indiana and Notre Dame, the first meeting between these in-state teams since 1990. And here they are meeting now again for the first time in 34 years with the stakes as big as they've ever been. Notre Dame, 7.5-point favorites, 51 the total in this game. So last week I stated on the show, I like Indiana at north of a touchdown. I like the over in this game because I think both offenses can move the football. And I still stand by those two opinions. I like Indiana. I bet Indiana at plus 7.5. I bet this over 51. I think when you look at Indiana's offense, sure, Ohio State bottled them up. They struggled a little bit in that game. Michigan did as well. I'm going back to that USC game again with Maava against Notre Dame. I didn't like what I saw from Notre Dame's defense. I thought they didn't play great, and I was starting to think as I watched that game play out, if Indiana, you give Curt Cignetti, a great head coach, time, devise, offensive game plan that works, and they have a very talented quarterback, Curtis Rourke, who's been around the block, comes from Ohio. He's got a very good arm. He's a big guy. He can move around just enough in the pocket. I think there's plays to be made, and Indiana's offense has an ability to have success because you start to also look at the Notre Dame schedule, which I mentioned last week. And nobody's talking about this just enough. People are talking about Notre Dame, what a season they've had, the gaudy record that they've had this year with just the one loss, albeit the shocking loss to Northern Illinois. But this schedule, of Stanford, Georgia Tech, when Haynes King didn't play for Georgia Tech in that game against Notre Dame, Navy, who were a good team, but a weak schedule. Florida State stinks. Virginia stinks. Army, again, albeit they were impressive in that game, Army really feasted on a very light, weak schedule this year. And then in the USC game, 49-35, it was fucking 2 pick sixes in a game that was right there for USC for the majority of that football game. And again, the Notre Dame defense against USC in that football game gave up, shockingly, almost 500, almost 600 yards of offense. 557 total yards for USC against that Notre Dame defense. I think you give this brilliant coach in Cignetti, what a season. I mean, it's unbelievable he got it. Even with there was some weakness in the Indiana schedule, clearly, as well. But still, to get this team from where they were last year to 11-1 in the playoff is just incredible still. And he has gotten the most of this team all season long. Don't be shocked if he gets the most out of them again. And I don't know about the win, but pushing Notre Dame to the limit and making this a close one-score game down to the wire would not surprise me in the least. And for Marcus Freeman, as much as we love the job he's done this year, and he's done a good job, that's why they re-upped him. There's some big game questions with him, and let's see if he can get it done in these big spots, with the extra 10. He's got to match wits with someone that, to me right now, as far as this season, is as good as it gets in college football, and Curt Cignetti. And let's see if Marcus Freeman can meet the moment and match Curt Cignetti in a battle of wits, because that's what people aren't talking about that enough. You can talk about offense versus defense all you want, quarterback versus quarterback, who's going to stop the run, who's going to stop the pass, who's going to be better in the trenches. Now with these teams all having for these playoff games 2 weeks to get ready, coaching and quality preparation is going to be just as important as anything in these 4 college football playoff first-round games. I think Cignetti, to me at least, is someone there's not many others I would back as happily as Curt Cignetti in spots like this. So I'm going to take the Indiana side plus the 7.5, and I'm going to go over the total because I think Indiana can do enough on offense. The one thing about Indiana's defense, feasted on a lot of weaker offenses, and there's no denying how great Notre Dame, Riley Leonard at quarterback, Jeremiah Love at running back, and how awesome they have been on offense throughout the season, especially of late. They have been a juggernaut. 31, 49, 31, 51, 52, 35, 49 in back-to-back games. To me, this total is just too low, and I think Indiana will struggle on defense against them because Notre Dame's offense is definitely playing well. So I like this over, but I like the Hoosiers to keep it to 1 score. Where are you on this one, CMAC? Our first of the 4 first-round playoff games, Indiana, Notre Dame.
Yeah, it's like Notre Dame team that just has been able to run it all year. Crazy. like around 230. And Indiana has the best run defense, but you got to look kind of at the schedule, like you were talking about, on who they play. But I still think they're pretty good, and I think they're going to be in this game. I like both these coaches, both these teams. This is the best ATS Notre Dame team in a long time. I need to look that up. But now, not only the 11-1 record, but to go 10-2 ATS. Usually Notre Dame, they were not winning big. They were losing games like they did earlier in the year and not covering against Northern Illinois. But I think Indiana's going to be ready to roll here. They got the taste. They got a little bit of their ass kicked to Ohio State. I had to stay off that game, but I think they're going to be in this one. And one thing, the defenses are good. Notre Dame's defense has been good, but I saw, some teams move the ball on them. One thing why they've been so great is turnover margin. I mean, they're tied for second, 16 in the country. They've got that all year long. They've had, that's just a good team. Sometimes it's a little bit of luck too. And so I think it's a little bit of both. But I think Rourke will have a pretty good game. It's interesting, the total. And I think the offenses kind of went out too. Maybe this does get over. I hadn't gone through the total like a ton in this one. I just think Indiana keeps this game close. That should be super, super tight. And I think they're ready for the challenge. I think Cignetti's going to have them ready for it here. And I think Freeman is too. So give me the +7.5 in a tight one.
All right, we are on the same page there. That's Friday night. That's the only playoff game this Friday night, December the 20th. The other three are on this Saturday, December 21st.